first thing you need to think about when starting a virtual performance project is repertoire. In the case of youth orchestras, they're all different. So nobody knows your group better than you, the conductor. So you need to think about their level. You need to think about instrumentation. You need to think about the size of the group. And as you do this more and more, the whole editing process, you'll learn, about your group and what's possible and what's not. One thing to keep in mind is that what would normally be a grade 4 piece is really a grade 5 for recording, meaning that you will be better off selecting music that's on the easy side for a normal in-person rehearsal process and performance. Recording can be pretty stressful for students, and it's also very time-consuming for parents and for families. So I would recommend that you set yourself up for success by selecting music that's on the easy side for what your students are able to do. One thing also to keep in mind is that because you're gonna have to create some kind of click track or some kind of backing track for musicians, it's best to pick music that doesn't have a lot of tempo changes or rubatos or accelerandos, retardandos, fermatas, and things like that. Again, you know, if you're comfortable with your group doing that, then go for it. One thing that we learned at MYS regarding click tracks and regarding selection of repertoire is that for pieces that have several different sections and several different tempos, it's better to create separate click tracks for each of the sections, so that when the students have to record, they can do shorter takes instead of having to record a 5-minute piece in one take without stopping and with changing tempos, etc. It's best to split that into sections. That will mean more work for you if you're editing, when you have to go back and put everything together. But that might also mean, on the bright side, that the takes and the performances of your students will be stronger, and it will be less intimidating and frustrating for them when it comes time to record. So think about the repertoire, because that's the first step, and it will define the success or failure of your project. I think it's also important to keep in mind, especially for younger students, that their families are going to have to be involved in this. They're a parent or somebody, right? So it's not only the student spending time doing this, but also their family when it comes time to record. We have a really great video on the MYS, on the Metropolitan Youth Symphony YouTube channel about recording at home, with great tips for students and the family. So you could check that out. But basically, because not only the students will be involved, but also somebody in the family, it's good to come up with a timeline for the student of preparing their part for recording, but also for the whoever's going to be helping them to get to know the tech part of it. Because they're going to have to, when students record this, they're going to need one audio device to play the click track into their headphones. And they're going to need a separate device to make the actual video, like somebody else's phone or a camera. So it's good to make sure that students and families become familiar with and become comfortable with what they're going to have to do when it comes time to record. So I would recommend, again, you create a timeline. If your full term is 8, 9, 10 weeks, then you give students goals to achieve over those weeks, and at the same time maybe you have a practice project for families to record something, so that when it comes time to record, if you're on a time crunch, that it's as easy as possible for everybody and not stressful. So the next big piece here is your click track. So I will do a separate video for that.